Washington mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
7:37 on WMAL. Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson with you. We got Senator Tom Coburn coming up next hour.
Yeah.
Be good to talk to him. Haven't had him on the show in a while. John Funn coming up in the 8 o'clock hour as well. We'll get into some voter ID issues and also Mitt Romney and his big victory last night and how he sees this race shaping up now that it's one-on-one. KT McFarland's on the line with us, Fox News national security analyst. Good morning, KT.
Good morning.
So I saw the National Journal. They have an article called "The Post-Al-Qaeda Era," and they have a quote from an unnamed senior State Department official who said the war on terror is over, and said now that we've killed most of Al-Qaeda, people see a chance for a legitimate means of expression, I guess, through their local government, meaning the Arab Spring. The war on terror is over has raised a lot of eyebrows. What did you make of this comment from this unnamed State Department official?
I live in New York City. We don't think it's over.
Yeah.
You know, come on. An unnamed State Department official. That often I think when that happens, it's somebody. We used to have an expression at the Pentagon. You put the flagpole up and see if anybody salutes. I think it's one of those leaks that comes out to see what kind of reaction. It's a test the waters thing. I think, though, that this is a bigger issue, that a lot of the neocons who were very happy to topple Saddam Hussein, happy to do nation building in Afghanistan, really happy when we pulled the rug out from under a lot of the leaders during the Arab Spring, and they really never saw what the second step would be. You know, what's the second act of any of these plays? The second act is when you create power vacuums, bad guys rush in. Mm-hmm. Not good little guys who want to have democracies and everybody's going to join the PTA and the Rotary Club. Bad guys rush in, and that's what we've seen in the civil war in Iraq. That's what we've seen the Taliban in Afghanistan, and increasingly that's what we've seen in the countries of the Arab Spring, that who's getting elected to the jobs, even though they're at the ballot box. In Gaza, it was Hamas. In Egypt, it's the Muslim Brotherhood. So I'm very skeptical about this rush in to embrace anybody who says that they want to abide by the democratic process, and, oh, maybe I might have been a killer in Al-Qaeda, last year, but I got a new opportunity now to go straight. I'm not so sure I'd rush in to believe these.
All right, you're a national security expert, but you're pretty deft when it comes to politics as well. What would be the political reason to offer up this opinion?
Well, they know they've got a problem, which is that at every one of the ballot boxes, who's winning these elections in the Arab Spring countries, whether it was Hamas in Gaza, in Morocco, in Egypt, the parliamentary elections in Egypt, the presidential election in Egypt that's upcoming. Who's winning these? It's the extreme right-wing parties. So what are you going to do if somebody comes to you and say, hey, wasn't it your bright idea to pull the rug out from under Mubarak? Wasn't it your bright idea to support all of these groups, even the Libyan rebels? Well, you didn't even know who these people were, and now they're getting elected in the ballot box? I mean, these are your people, right? So I think it's an attempt to come out and so that they don't look like total fools.
But it's not a problem right now. I mean, it is.
Absolutely.
But here's what I mean. But here's what I mean by that. I mean that the attention that the American people have right now is not on Egypt, is not on even Syria for that matter. It's we were so consumed with Iraq and Afghanistan, we've moved off of that, and we're all dealing more with the economy right now. And when you're going to see really the fruits of these problems that we're going to have most likely with the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt or whatever is going to come out of Libya, it's going to be years down the road when there's probably another president in office.
Well, it depends on what you think is going to happen in November. No, I don't think it's years away. I think that it's an immediate problem. I mean, look what Egypt has just done with Israel, talking about canceling Egypt sells natural gas to Israel, and so Egypt is talking about canceling that energy sale. The Muslim Brotherhood, which has already won in the parliamentary elections, is having several candidates run in the presidential elections, is likely to win in the presidential elections. Their official stand is to abrogate, the treaty between Egypt and Israel. In other words, declare it invalid. Well, Egypt, for the last 30 years, has had a safe southern flank. It's one of the reasons there's not been an Israeli somebody war in the Middle East since 1973. Now, if that's about to change, that changes everything. that changes the whole calculation. Israel and its neighbors, Israel, the rising threat from Iran, Israel, are we moving ourselves is the world moving into a situation where Arab countries will unite once again and blame Israel for their problems and start some kind of a war with Israel?
I hear that, and trust me, it's a concern to me. But my point is I don't think a lot of Americans really care about or concentrate on it too much until there's actual kinetic activity to use a frame.
It'll be too late, and the gas prices will go through the roof.
All right, I want to
then
talk.
Everybody's going to pay attention.
Right.
Want to talk about? We talk a lot about North Korea and its attempts to launch a missile, but we haven't talked near as much about the fact that India and Pakistan are sort of in their own missile development war right now. Each of them firing intermediate range ballistic missiles that are capable of carrying nuclear weapons. How concerned should we be about this?
Well, remember, nuclear weapons powers, who's fought with each other in the last 30 years? Which nuclear-possessing countries have gone to war? India and Pakistan, not China and Russia, not the United States and the Soviet Union. It's been those two countries. So I think even all the attention we tried to give to the Pakistanis to say, hey, you guys, you have a really huge problem with the Taliban. They're going to try to topple your government as well. So watch out, help us in Afghanistan. The Pakistanis kept saying, no, we'll take your money. But our big problem is India. That's what we see as our big problem. We've already seen the Mumbai terrorist attacks, Pakistan, India. India turned the other cheek, didn't reciprocate and escalate the situation. So I think it's of great concern. Now, there's a secondary concern with India and Pakistan, nuclear weapons, and now getting the ability to have missiles that can reach, far beyond its borders, which is, when is somebody, whether it's North Korea, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's Iran, when are they going to get nuclear weapons that have the ability to go on top of a missile and land in the United States? In other words, intercontinental ballistic missiles. We've only worried about intercontinental ballistic missiles carrying nukes from China and Russia. But we now are going to have some new guys on the block. Do we have a missile defense? I think most people think that, wow, if somebody launches a missile attack against the United States, we'll shoot it down, just like we would if it was an airplane. Sorry, we don't really have an adequate defense for that.
All right, KT, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Fox News national security analyst, also host